Hi, Lesage here, your chronically Caucasian vocal analyst, and today we're going to listen to some great singing. Jacob Banks. If you're ever tense, it's actually a really good thing to do. If your back is tight, there's a muscle that connects from the scapula, the shoulder blade, to the bottom of the larynx. So if your back is tight and you're flaring your back, your soft palate is going to dome, your larynx is going to go down, your tongue is going to narrow, and that's just going to sabotage pretty much anything you're going to try and work with.
What I've learned from the ocean, how to dance and rejoice in the motion. Let the sun have its moment.
This is really, really, really interesting. What he's doing to achieve this tone, is usually you would say don't do this. And there's a reason why. The tongue is like super like not wide. It's a little back, and the soft palate's actually drooped a little bit like that. It's a lowered soft palate, and so you get kind of a oh boy, it's like a droopy sound. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating. I'm making it a little extreme, but it's incredible that the way he uses it.
Let the sun have its moment.
And the reason why that fry comes in is because he's so relaxed with his folds that, like, a fry is when your folds are so slack, they kind of like do this. And so the reason he can do this, even though it's not like ergonomic to sing this way, is because his breath is extremely gentle.
The moon will come. What I've learned from a soldier, every man is a son to a daughter, and we only remember when we see the blood.
Oh, this is cool. So he's bringing the tongue a little bit more forward now. It's actually really, really smart. He starts with that sort of, and then he goes, right? Like he brightens it up a little bit, brings out the low in a way that you can't do when you start the way you started. So it's gradually becoming more clear. It's a really smart decision to start a song that way.
Don't grow up on me. Keep that backstroke in your afro. Don't you grow up on me. Slow up on me. Don't you grow up on me. Keep it OG, sip it slowly. Don't you grow up on me.
His vowels, as of right now, are extraordinarily clean. The palate lifted, wide, the tongue wide, and he's just simply saying the words, and you get this resonance from that is really, really lush.
Slow up on me. Don't you show off on me.
Slows right through.
Don't you grow up on me. Slow up on me. What I've learned from a traveler, there's no road that can lead to Nirvana.
Nice.
There's a world to discover.
And he goes back to this sort of like droopy sound, and he goes up and he hits that fry again. Really nice.
But a home is love. What I've learned from a mirror, look too hard and you find you a stranger.
Yeah.
Love is just a decision. The choice is yours. Don't go up on me. Keep that that backstroke in your afro, don't you go up on me. Slow up on me.
This is really hard to do intentionally and on command. And it's draining for the voice by any metric. But it sounds really cool, right? So this is sometimes there's false fold distortion, which is when the false folds come together and they rattle. This is not that. This is actually a vocal fry on the top, which you can only achieve with really lax folds.
Don't you go up on me.
So even though it sounds really intense, it's actually extremely, extremely gentle.
Slow up on me.
Takes a lot of precision.
Don't you go up on me. Keep it OG, sip it slowly. Don't you go up on me. Slow up on me. Don't you show off on me.
So there's actually, this is a really, really, really cool audio trick. I don't think there's a backup singer, right?
Don't you go up on me.
I don't know if there's a backup singer. If there's not, or if it is, it's EQ'd heavily. So there's a trick you can do with audio where if you duplicate the signal, so you have the mic, right? You have him talking like this, and then you duplicate the signal and you put it up an octave and you EQ the crud out of it so that it's this little gentle thing in the background. And if it is a backup singer, they're EQing it so it's just the higher frequencies. Listen super carefully.
Don't you go up on me.
Do you hear that there's like a second voice there?
Slow up on me.
Oh no, it's a vocoder.
Oh.
So someone here has a vocoder. That's so smart. Let me demonstrate what I'm talking about real quick. So this is actually a trick that I use really quite often. So what I would do here is like, this is, you're not going to be able to hear it unfortunately because of OBS and drivers and all that, but this is my singing, okay? So what is accomplished by using a vocoder like this is you can bring this up an octave. So like 12 half steps, right? And so then it's super high. And then you take an equalizer and you cut a bunch of frequencies like that. And so there's this little sizzle, and the effect is that it makes the singer sound like they're closer. So if you're in a situation where there's like a lot of reverb, it's like a reverb and choir, and especially with that tone he's got going on, that like droopy thing kills a lot of higher frequencies. So it's just like, it's so clever. It's such a cool thing. I don't know what else to tell you, you know? I like what's going on in the snare. There's actually a lot of really cool audio tricks that he's or whoever's behind this decision making. It's brilliant. Listen to this sort of like weird distorted thing that happens on the snare. What's really important to notice here is that he's the only thing that's really occupying a certain range of the mids. Like listen to how much space there is before you start singing. We're very ethereal, nothing too pronounced, right?
Don't go up on me.
And that allows him to come in and he has plenty of room. His singing is great. The conviction is amazing. But this is really, really, really good high level sound design, and I find it personally really exciting.
Wear your afro like your backbone, don't you go up on me.
That vocoder is so smart. It's so smart.
Slow up on me, don't you show off on me. Keep it OG, sip it slowly, don't you go up on me. Slow up on me, don't you go up on me. Wear your afro like your backbone, don't you go up on me. Slow up on me, don't you go up on me. Keep it OG, sip it slowly. Don't you go up on me, don't you slow up on me. Wear your afro like your backbone, don't you go up on me. Slow up on me, don't you go up on me.
This is really, really, really hard to do consistently like that. And it can be harmful. The reason why it's not for him, so I said, like, the breath has to be really, really, really gentle, but you also have to have immaculate posture. See, like people with singing, they'll like be like, oh, it's time for me to relax, and they'll kind of like do this. It's weird. You need to find this combination of like really energized, but also kind of loose, right? And he's doing that. You can see it in his posture.
Wear your afro like your backbone, don't you go up on me. Slow up on me.
His posture's super good, and he's very easy. It's very easy for him to move all the torso muscle, all that stuff. And you need that if you're going to do this a lot. Like, he's doing it a lot. And if it's not done well, it's very draining for the voice. And so kudos to him, because this is really not easy.
Don't you go up on me. Keep it OG, sip it slowly. Don't you go slow up on me. Don't you go up on me. Don't you slow up on me.
Nice. There are so many great artists that y'all are sharing with me who genre bend. This is like some sort of like almost like ethereal Enya, and then you get like a really intense vocal behind it. I never, like, if you told me that these elements were coming together and that it makes sense, I'd have a hard time imagining that. But now I'm hearing it and it's like, wow, this is really, really smart.